All right, pleased to be joined by Stone Cold Steve Austin, the legend himself. Thank you for joining us, Steve.
Glad to be here.
All right, so I've handpicked some hockey terms and definitions from our hockey dictionary. Before we get going, though, hockey players are kind of gross. I'm probably in that category as far as like washing our equipment, and we don't like to do it a lot. So could you please do just a little PSA for all those hockey players out there that don't like washing their stuff?
Hey, man, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. To all them hockey players out there that don't like to wash your gear. You know, you got a lot of guys in this business that didn't like to wash their gear either, and it got really, really funky. And when you're tied up with a guy and you're really, really close on the mat, yeah, it's not a good scene. There is no reason to be unsanitary in 2021, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
That is perfect. You heard them, hockey players out there. All right, let's start with definition or term number one. I know you know this one personally. We'll start it off a little easier. Zamboni.
Zamboni is a machine that slicks the ice down and, gets it, in a great state for the guys to go out there and skate and do their thing.
That's it. Now, obviously, everyone knows that famous Zamboni clip of you in the Detroit Red Wings arena. Couple questions about that. Had you ever driven a Zamboni before that, and were you nervous at any point too, or were you just like, okay, here we go, I'm doing it?
I'd never driven a Zamboni before. Growing up in South Texas, we didn't have a whole lot of hockey back then. So that was the first Zamboni that I've ever saw or touched. Well, I take it back. I saw one at the Houston Galleria when we used to go ice skating back in the day. Never driven one. One of my saving graces is that I can drive anything on wheels or anything on water or whatever. So the Zamboni is kind of a hydrostatic control machine, a little bit different to steer than a regular automobile, but they taught me how to drive that thing about 15 minutes before we went live. And you saw it, I ran that ring, moved that ring back about a foot, and I just did that for impact to make a statement and jumped off the hood of that thing and clothesline Vince, and there we were. But a fun day at the office, and man, I just busted through that gate, took down that light for just a little bit more drama, and dragged it to the ring. And those people had never seen anything like that ever because it's never been done before. So it was a good day at the office.
It's definitely the coolest way we've seen a Zamboni driven ever, whether it's on an ice rink or outside of an ice rink. So you definitely got that as far as your accolades go. The next definition I want to ask you, zebra.
Zebra, man, god dang. Well, zebra's a referee. Guy wearing white and black. So that's a zebra. Am I correct?
You are correct.
There you go.
I know you've had a lot of run-ins with zebras over the course of your career. Is there a moment that stands out for you as far as working with a ref, attacking a ref, or just a relationship you have with a referee? Because I know those guys don't get a lot of the shine for the job they do in any sport.
Man, I'm so fortunate to have worked with some outstanding referees during my career and have really a special bond with them. And one of the guys, Earl Hebner, used to referee a lot of my high-profile matches, many of my main event matches. And man, after a match, man, I would let Earl join me on the beer celebration, and Earl loved to drink beer. So when I was celebrating and bashing beers and throwing them to him, he was the happiest guy in the world. So I've had so many great referees, like, when I got dropped on my head and almost paralyzed, Jimmy Corderas, Timmy White, Earl came out there, those guys had helped drag me back. So, sometimes you get mad at those referees in a real sport, but, in our business, those referees can add so much to a match, and they're just as important in the match as the guys are.
Couldn't agree more. You said it perfectly there. And you mentioned a word that is on my list. It's selly. That is the next definition.
Okay, I'm taking just a stab at this one. A selly is some guy gets checked a little bit and he just goes crazy selling it too much.
Ooh, interesting definition. But no, selly is just celebrating. It's like a short form slang for celebrating. And obviously you had your iconic beer smashing celebration. It's been recreated a lot of times in the sports world as well with athletes. Is there an athlete that you've seen do it over the years that you thought just did a really great job of it?
Obviously, there's been many guys that have done it, on various social media platforms or whatever. But no one that just jumps off my mind and says, "Hey, this is the guy."
That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Next one. I got a few more for you. Tilly or tilt?
Tilt. God dang, man. Tilly. No, we can't. A Tilly ain't a fight.
No, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
A tilt. So we're going, so fight is a tilt.
Yeah, Tilly or
Okay.
tilt. It's basically just another way to say fight.
Man, I thought there was some correlation there. I was like, okay, man,
Yeah.
okay, then it's a fight. I was right.
You were right. You're doing great here so far. 3 for 4. As far as the Tilly goes, you've had some iconic Tillys as far as just outside of the wrestling ring, let's say. Is there any that tops the Supermarket Brawl with Booker T in your mind, or is that the ultimate Tilly you've kind of been in, where it's just no holds barred in a completely different environment than the actual wrestling ring?
Well, yes, because I'll take you to WrestleMania 13 against Canada's own legendary Bret the Hitman Hart, one of the greatest to ever do it. You know, we started off, that match. I went in as the bad guy. He came in as the good guy. By the end of the match, I would end up the good guy. He would end up the bad guy. That's a double turn. Very rare that you can pull that off. Very rare that it's called in a booking session. So I tackled him at the beginning of that match, but then we brawled outside, fought ringside, hit a couple of steel posts. I suplexed him onto the guardrail. One of the Hall of Famers got in the way, and we brawled up into the crowd. And Ken Shamrock, the world's most dangerous man, was keeping the people off of us. I took a beverage from one of the beverage vendors there and drank some Coca-Cola or whatever it was. Then I was trying to hit Bret with that damn tray, but the guy wouldn't give it to me. But as we fought up and down those stairs, and then he ended up backdropping me and landing on the stairs, an epic brawl with Bret the Hitman Hart at WrestleMania 13. And that match, Bret the Hitman Hart was such an integral part in the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I cannot thank him enough.
The last 2 definitions I have here for you. Meat wagon. Meat wagon.
God dang. Meat wagon. Could be many things. I'm just guessing, hey man, is that where you go for catering?
It is not. It is
Okay,
somebody who is it is somebody who is only good at hitting or fighting.
Man, but I tell you what, man, and all of those hockey guys, man, those guys are tough as nails, and they'll fight at the drop of a hat. And it's me, because being from South Texas, I wasn't exposed to a whole lot of hockey growing up. But just the way, they'll set the tone, or if somebody's doing something, that guy will come out and start regulating. It's really something to see. And it takes, I'll keep this family friendly. I mean, those guys, it takes some moxie to do what they do. And those guys are absolutely fearless, man. Tough as nails. Ton of respect from me.
Last definition I have for you is lettuce.
Dang, man, I'm gonna crap out on this one too. Lettuce. I don't know.
Lettuce is another word for just luscious hair.
So would have Gretzky had some lettuce?
Exactly. That's exactly it. Who had the best lettuce as far as wrestlers go from your days?
Golly, man. Nothing bother. Okay, Chris Jericho had good lettuce. The ponytail pulled up, dude. It takes some nerves to come out with that hairstyle, and he got it over too, man. Who's the other guys? Billy Gunn did for a while. Man, that's a tough one, the way you phrase it like that. I'm going to go with those 2.
That's all the hockey terms I got for you. Thank you so much for joining us, Steve, on behalf of Tide.
#turn to cold, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.